From Medicon in Bloomington, Minnesota, this is Jeopardy! Now taking their places are today's contestants. A student from North Greenwich, Minnesota, let's welcome Jake. A tech support rep from South Dakota, please welcome Casey. And a student from Minneapolis, Minnesota, please welcome Chris. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy. Well, that's me. Hi, I'm Greggo. How you doing? Welcome. You guys can go ahead and take a seat there. Welcome to Jeopardy. This is the fourth of 7 game shows I have on the docket for you here at Medicon. How many of you were here yesterday for any of my shows? Well, thank you. Welcome back. Well, thank you for choosing me instead of other entertaining things you could be doing right now. Hopefully, it will make it worth your while. Introduce our 3 players over here. We'll go ahead and slide over here. We've got Jake and Casey and Chris, and we'll get to know them a little bit more as the show progresses. But right now, let's go ahead and set the board in motion. All right, so we have hidden one daily double somewhere among these 6 subjects. We have geeky spin-offs, and they also wrote this. Disney made this? Ninja. 3-word synopses. Finally, Marvel. 3-word synopses, I will give you 3 words, and you just have to tell me what movie or television show that is a 3-word synopsis of. Everything else is fairly self-explanatory. Jake, we determined that you would start off this game of Jeopardy. Where would you like to begin, sir? Marvel for 400. All right. The answer is: an injection of blood gives biker Takuya superpowers after helping investigate the spaceship Marveler in a Japanese live action of this comic. That's what you get for starting at the bottom there, sir. Audience, any idea? What? Nope. Injection of blood, it should be your clue on that. Spider-Man. Spider-Man, the Japanese live-action Spider-Man. All right, we're off to a great stop today on Jeopardy. Jake, you still have control. Where to?
3-word synopsis for 200.
3-word synopsis for 200. The answer is: I am Groot. Casey.
Guardians of the Galaxy? Or what is Guardians of the Galaxy?
That's right. Well done. You're on the board. Where would you like to go?
So Disney made this for 100.
Disney made this for 100. The answer is: 1986's The Great Mouse Detective draws from the tradition of this classic Scottish fictional character. Casey.
What is Sherlock Holmes?
Correct. Well done. 2 in a row.
So Disney made this for 200.
Disney made this for 200. The answer is: while production of the short Destino began in 1945, its collaboration between Disney and this surrealist painter wasn't out until 2003. Audience, can you tell me? Go ahead.
Salvador Dali.
Salvador Dali, yeah, that was the surrealist painter we were after. Casey, you still have the board.
Let's go 3-word synopsis for 100.
3-word synopsis for 100. The answer is: let it go. Casey.
What is Frozen?
What is Frozen? You're welcome for me getting that song stuck in everybody's head. And Casey, please select.
Disney made this for 300.
Disney made this 300. The answer is: this now legally entangled comedian played Hell's chief henchman in the 1981 Disney film The Devil and Max Devlin. Audience. Yeah, correct response is who is Bill Cosby. I can only do that impression now when he's the answer to the question. So, Casey, where to?
Let's go Marvel for 100.
Marvel for 100. The answer is: strangely enough, this superhero is actually licensed by DC Comics. He was renamed to Shazam. Jake.
Captain Marvel. Who is Captain Marvel?
There you go. And now you are on the board, and it's your turn. Please select.
Marvel for 200.
Marvel 200. The answer is... This alias has been used by at least 3 superheroines: Rachel Summers, Valeria Richards, and Jean Grey. Casey?
Who is the Phoenix?
No. Casey or Chris? Jake or Chris? Jake?
Who is Marvel Girl?
That's the Marvel we were after. Yes, Marvel Girl. There you are. Where to?
Marvel for 300.
Marvel for 300. The answer is... Fighting game series where Ryu might be up against Wolverine. Where yo curly mustache at? Jake?
Marvel meets Capcom 3.
One of the question.
What is Marvel?
I'll take that. Marvel vs. Capcom. Yep, there we go. That's what we needed. Where to?
3-word synopsis for 300.
3-word synopsis for 300. The answer is 5. 3, sir. Jake?
What is Fire?
Nope. Casey or Chris? Audience?
What is
What is Monty Python and the Holy Grail? Yep, that's right. Where to, Jake?
5-word synopsis for 400.
3-word synopsis for 400. The answer is David Bowie's Bulge. Casey?
What is the labyrinth?
What is Labyrinth? Yeah, good. Where to?
Let's go geeky spin-offs for 100.
Geeky spin-offs for 100. The answer is a spin-off of this 90s animated series featured 2 of its most popular characters, Pinky and the Brain. Jake?
What is Animaniacs?
Correct. Please select.
Marvel for 500.
Finishing it off with this clue. TV roles of this actress include Democratic presidential candidate Heather Dunbar in House of Cards and Detective Nancy Paris in The District. Anyone in the audience know this one? We were after a Marvel. Her last name is Marvel. Elizabeth Marvel is the correct answer there. All right, Jake, you still have the board.
Geeky spin-offs for 200.
Geeky spin-offs for 200. The answer is 4 years after the end of this Nickelodeon series, a spin-off, The Legend of Korra, began airing on the network. Jake?
What is Last Airbender? Or, what is After the Last?
That's what I needed, the whole thing. Well done. You're now tied with Casey, and that will bring us to our first commercial break, where eventually we'll get to hear from Chris. We'll find out more about him as we get started, as we continue in this first round of Jeopardy. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Jeopardy. A bit of a slow start on this game, but that's okay. Things will get a little more excited as some of these other categories come on. We are going to meet our contestants now. Chris, we haven't heard from you yet. Now, before the show, you mentioned that you spent 4 years in the Army. Now, how are you able to continue to fly your geek flag when you were serving our country?
Well, when I was in Afghanistan, my medic actually introduced me to anime and started reading a little bit of manga and comics there. Just kept up ever since.
Right. And thank you for your service to our country, and hopefully you have a little bit better luck as we proceed.
Yeah.
Now, Casey, it says here, and we've talked about this, you are currently only 3 states behind me for most states that you have done a convention in. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, so we're fairly central country-wise right now. What's the furthest that you've gone to attend a convention?
Probably Seattle or LA.
All right. And what's your favorite show typically to do?
My favorite one is Youmacon in actually Detroit.
Okay. Yep. I haven't done. They have a guy there who handles game shows, so I haven't done that one yet. But nothing lasts forever, so we'll see what happens. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Now, Jake, you are an avid movie watcher. What have you seen lately that you really enjoyed?
The last movie I saw was Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four. You got a microphone there too. So
Oh, yeah.
there you go. So the newest Fantastic Four, I assume.
Yeah.
Now, the reviews on it have not been kind, and I'm assuming your review of it is also not quite so kind.
It was horrible.
Better or worse than Pixels?
Worse.
Really? Worse than Pixels? Holy cow. That thing got like 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Fantastic Four got 8.
8%?
Oh, yes.
8%? Wow. My home movies scored higher than that. So. All right. As we went into commercial, Jake, you gave me the last correct response, so you get to continue. Please select.
Let's go ninja for 100.
Ninja for 100. The answer is, in this anime featuring Ninja, its title character dreams of becoming Hokage, the strongest in his village. Chris!
What is Naruto?
You're on the board, Chris. Well done. Believe it, says someone. Where to, Chris?
Ninja for 200.
Ninja 200. The answer. The title of this Sega video game franchise is simply another word for ninja. How about it, audience?
What is Shinobi?
Shinobi. Yep, Shinobi. Good job, audience. Chris. Where to?
And they wrote this for 100.
And they also wrote this for 100. The answer is, The Silmarillion was posthumously published in 1977. Do you think Peter Jackson will eventually make a movie from it? Casey.
Who is J.R.R. Tolkien?
Who is Tolkien is the right answer. Well done. Where to?
And they also wrote this for 200.
And they also wrote this for 200. The answer is, his 1982 Western, Cheyenne Raiders, was published under his pen name, Jackson O'Reilly. It was a bit less popular than The Wheel of Time. Jake?
What is the time traveler's word?
No. Looking for authors here. Casey or Chris? Audience, go ahead. Robert Jordan, The Wheel of Time. Where to, Casey?
Geeky spin-offs for 300.
Geeky spin-offs for 300. The answer is, Happy Days producer Gary Marshall was so impressed by Robin Williams' audition for this character that he got his own spin-off. Feeling the youth of the contestants this time is going to go ahead.
Mork and Mindy.
Yeah, Mork from Mork and Mindy is who we were after. Yeah, little old for the room, I think, as far as the contestants go. Where to, Casey?
3-word synopsis for 500.
Finishing that off with this clue. Odo versus Quark. What do you got, audience? Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Yes, there we go. Daily Double's still up there somewhere, Casey. Where would you like to go?
Disney made this for 400.
Disney made this 400. Answer. You have 700. You lead Jake by 300. How much do you want to risk in your knowledge of Disney made this?
Let's go 200.
200. All right, 200 we can do. In the category Disney made this, here's your clue. Produced as a goodwill message for South America, this 1944 musical film features a Brazilian parrot and a Mexican rooster.
What is the Three Amigos?
No, that came before. The Three Caballeros. Caballeros, yeah. Cost you 200, but you still have the lead and you still have control.
Disney made this for 500.
Finishing that up with this clue. Released in 1985, this dark Disney fantasy cost more to make than any other animated film up to that time, but it was beaten by the Care Bears movie. Audience?
Black Cauldron.
Black Cauldron, that was the movie. 3 categories left in a very close game. Casey, where would you like to go?
And they also wrote this for 300.
And they also wrote this, 300. The answer is, his 1983 book, The Armageddon Rag, was a commercial failure. Maybe because he didn't kill off enough of its characters? Casey?
Who is J.J. Abrams?
Nope. Jake or Chris? Jake.
Who is George R.R. Martin?
That's the one we were after, yes, George R.R. Martin. And we've had a lead flip, and Jake, you have control.
Geeky spin-offs for 400.
Geeky spin-offs, 400. The answer is Crusade, a one-season spin-off of this long-running sci-fi series, takes place after the events of the movie, A Call to Arms. The camera person got really excited on this one. You and my father would have gotten along. Go ahead.
What is Babylon 5?
Yeah, that was my dad's favorite series, not named Star Trek. So, all right, Jake, where to?
Geeky spin-offs for 500.
Finishing that off with this. A spin-off of the remake of Battlestar Galactica, This prequel's run was canceled by Sci-Fi before the end of its first season. Jake?
What is Firefly?
Nope. Casey or Chris? Audience? Correct response, what is Caprica? Caprica. Yeah, 'cause you don't remember it because it wasn't around very long to be remembered. Well, this is about the closest we've ever had towards the end of Jeopardy. Jake, 2 categories left. What you want?
And they also wrote this for 400.
And they also wrote this 400. The answer is, his 2008 novel, Nation, was released between Discworld novels, Making Money, and Unseen Academicals. Good news is the three of you have a nice long fantasy series to read now. Discworld, go ahead. Terry Pratchett, yes. All right, Jake, where to?
Ninja for 300.
Ninja for 300. The answer is, debuting in the first Mortal Kombat video game, this ninja is garbed in green. Chris?
What is the lizard?
No. Jake or Casey? Jake?
What is Scorpion?
No, that's yellow. Casey?
Who is Jade?
No, all three of you go down into the negative. Jade came later. No, in the very first one. Go ahead.
Who is Reptile?
Reptile. Yeah. This will be a first if it ends like this. 3 clues left, Jake. Where to?
Ninja for 400.
Ninja 400. Answer. This ninja from the G.I. Joe cartoon series lost his vocal cords in a helicopter explosion, which is why he doesn't speak. Jake?
Who is Snake Eyes?
Snake Eyes! Back on the plus side you go. 2 clues left. You want, and they also wrote this or ninja?
Also wrote this.
All right, finishing it off with this. In October of this year, S.H.I.E.L.D. released the 3rd book of the Cormoran Strike series under her pen name, Robert Galbraith. She being the key word there. Go ahead.
J.K. Rowling.
J.K. Rowling. Yep, that is her other pen name. All right, 1 clue left, and then we'll be out of here. It's Ninja for 500, and it goes like this. Betsy Braddock, otherwise known as this Marvel character, had her mind placed in the body of a ninja, gaining her martial arts skills. Jake.
Who is Psylocke?
Psylocke is a good finish for Jake, and you have the lead. As we go into Double Jeopardy, Casey and Chris are both in the negative. Chris, you're slightly more negative, which means you will lead off as we move into Double Jeopardy, and we'll have that right after this. Stay tuned. So far, this has been pretty interesting. For the first time ever in the history of my Jeopardy games, we've got 2 people in the red, but just barely. All right, so we will see what these 3 can do with these 6 subjects. And here they are. Potent potables. Sports terms that aren't. There's a place in France where the women wear no pants. It's their ship. And finally, we had Marvel in the first round. Now we have DC. Now, some explanations. First of all, Potent Potables. We went to a website called thedrunkenmoogle.com, and we got some recipes to some geeky cocktails. So we'll be talking about that, and all of these recipes you can find on thedrunkenmoogle.com. For sports terms that aren't, all of the correct responses are actual terms used in sports, but the questions have nothing at all to do with sports. It's just the correct answer also happens to be a sports term. There's a place in France. Everything is about French cities, locations, things that were written or done in France that have to do with why we're here this weekend. I'm not even going to go for wear no pants. We'll just have to be surprised there. It's their ship. I'll name 3 members who, 2 or 3 members who at some point were crew members on board a ship. You just have to tell me the name of the ship. Finally now, DC. This is not about the comic company. Every correct response will have those initials in it. So 2 words, the first word starts with D, the second word starts with C. Chris, you are in 3rd place, which means you get to go first. Where would you like to begin?
Sport terms that aren't. for 200.
Sports terms that aren't for 200. The answer is, this term for binge watching a movie or television series is a bit less grueling than the 26-mile race it's named after. Jake.
What is marathon?
Marathon is the sports term there. And you're in 4-digit land now. Where to?
It's their ship for 200.
It's their ship for 200. The answer is Hector Barbosa sometimes, Captain Jack Sparrow others. Chris.
What is the Black Pearl?
You're out of the minus situation. Well done. And you have the board.
Sport terms that aren't for 400.
For 400, the answer is, in The Hobbit, Gwaihir the Windlord is one. Jake.
What is an umpire?
No. Casey or Chris? Audience? An eagle. Eagle is the sports term. So, yeah, it's a golf term that time. Where to, Chris?
DC for 200.
DC for 200. Remember, every correct response is 2 words. One starts with D, the next starts with C. The answer is, this 1982 film, directed by Jim Henson and Frank Oz, stars a gelfling named Jen. Go ahead, audience.
Dark
Crystal. Dark Crystal. Yeah, Dark Crystal. Where to, Chris?
Sport terms that aren't for 600.
For 600. The answer is, nickname given to an alternate dimensional version of Arnold Rimmer in Red Dwarf. Smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast. This makes me less sad and more sad at the same time. Go ahead, audience. You know it? No Red Dwarf fans in the audience? No, he's Ace. Ace Rimmer. Ace being tennis term there. Chris.
Where the women wear no pants for 200.
Here we go. The answer is, it wasn't until Ursula granted her wish that she could even think about pants. Even then, she wore dresses. Casey.
Who is Ariel?
You're back on the plus side now. Well done. Please select.
Potent portables for 200.
All right. Potent potables for 200. The answer is, the Drunken Moogle has recipes for each of the 8 evolutions of this Pokemon, and a 9th for the Pokemon itself. Casey.
Who is Edie?
Yep, and from what I can tell, they're all delicious. Where to?
There's a place in France for 200.
There's a place in France for 200. The answer is, in a 1990 episode of this Fox animated series, he's deported to France while his family hosts a young Albanian terrorist. 1990 Fox animated series, there weren't many of them back then. Which one is it, audience?
Simpsons.
Yeah, Simpsons. Bart was deported to France. Casey, you still have the board.
DC for 400.
DC for 400. The answer is, this PlayStation 2 role-playing game video game series was mainly known for its robust item crafting. A very young group of players. Jake.
What is Demon?
Nope, that's not right. Casey or Chris? Audience, you know this one?
Dark Cloud.
Dark Cloud. Yep, that was the DC that time. Where to, Casey?
Let's go where the women wear no pants for 400.
You seemed to like that one the first time. Let's see what happens for 4. Answer. She wears a dress, mainly to differentiate her from the rest of her blue-skinned neighbors, all males in the original story. Jake?
What is the Smurfs?
No. Casey?
Who is Smurfette?
Smurfettes. Yep, that's what we wanted, the name. She wears the dress. Got the right show, got the wrong answer there. Where to, Casey?
Let's do the same category for 600.
Same category, 600. The answer is, debuting in a 1940 cartoon, her tail feathers resemble a skirt, but she and her boyfriend Donald remain pantsless to this day. Casey?
Who is Daisy Duck?
Daisy Duck is the pantsless one that time. Where to?
Same category for 800.
For 800. The answer is, the girls in Strike Witches, an anime recreation of this war, wear devices on their lower bodies that turn them into fighter jets. What you got, audience?
World War II.
World War II. Yeah, it's a recreation of World War II. And it's the war on pants, according to Funimation. Casey, you want to finish it off? Or
Let's go.
All right, here we go. For 1,000, the answer is: females of this serpentine species, introduced in D&D in its early days and used frequently in fantasy, have no legs for pants. Any dice chuckers in the
What is a
audience?
lamia?
No, it's not a lamia. Naga.
Naga.
Yeah, Naga. Yeah, everyone's thinking lamia because of the Monster Girls and D&D. The early D&D was the Naga. Well, we're done with pants. Like the women in that category. Where to, Casey?
Let's go. It's their ship for 400.
It's their ship for 400. The answer is Jane Cobb, Hoban Washburn, and Captain Malcolm Reynolds. Jake?
What is Firefly?
Nope. Casey or Chris? It's a Firefly class ship, but the name of the ship was the Serenity. Yeah, so fell into the trap there, Jake. That's okay. There's still plenty of game left. Casey, where to?
Potent Potables for 400.
Back to that one. Answer. The recipe for the cocktail based off of a princess from this Cartoon Network show includes bubblegum vodka. Casey.
What is Adventure Time?
Adventure Time, yes. Please select.
Potent Potables for 600.
For 600, the answer is: mix blue curacao, Sprite, rum, and blueberry vodka to make one of these based on the 10th Doctor. Replace vodka with Midori for the 11th. Casey.
What is Doctor Who?
Nope. Drink is a sonic screwdriver. That is the drink, the name of the drink. Lost a little bit on that, Casey, but you still have control.
There's a place in France for 400.
There's a place in France for 400. The answer is: anime series Gankutsuo is a retelling of this Dumas novel, its setting being Paris in the year 5053. Casey.
What is the Count of Monte Cristo?
Is the right answer. Well done, good comeback. Please select.
Place in France for 600.
Place in France for 600. The answer is: a 1998 live-action film version of this 75-year-old children's media franchise that takes place in Paris received mixed reviews when released. Do we know that, audience? No. The response is Madeline. Madeline. Yeah, that was it. Where to, Casey?
It's their ship for 600.
It's their ship for 600. The answer is the Doctor, Commander Chakotay, and Captain Catherine Janeway. Jake.
What is the TARDIS?
No. Captain Janeway was the captain of the USS Voyager. Voyager, yeah. The Doctor's what they named the Doctor on the show. So, where to, Casey?
DC for 600.
DC for 600. The answer is main character, title character in the original Japanese version, of the long-running anime series released in North America as Case Closed. Casey.
Who is Lupin the Third?
Nope. Jake or Chris? The DC in this case, audience?
Detective Conan.
Detective Conan is the DC there. There's a daily double there's 2 daily doubles among the last 10 clues. Casey, where to?
Place in France for 800.
Place in France, 800. The answer is Oscar Francois de Jarget, a woman raised as a man and commander of the Royal Guard, is the main character in this classic anime. Audience, you know this? The response was the Rose of Versailles. Rose of Versailles being placed in France. Casey.
DC for 800.
DC for 800. The answer is in The Godfather, he'll make you an offer you can't refuse. Audience?
Don Corleone.
Don Corleone. Yep, that's your DC. Where to, Casey?
Potent Potables for 800.
For 800. Answer. You have 900. You can risk up to 1,000.
Can I just go 100?
Yes, you can. That's actually the minimum. All right. In the category Potent Potables, here's your clue. Don't panic after drinking this, whose recipe from Drunken Moogle includes bourbon, gin, apple pucker, and blue curacao. Nothing at
No
all?
idea.
All right, audience, go ahead if you know it.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
That's it's from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The name of the drink is the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster. So, there you go. All right. Going forward with this game, I'll make sure to make it Anime Jeopardy next time. Casey, where to?
Terms that aren't for 800.
Sports terms that aren't 800. Answer. You can risk up to 1,000.
No, just 100.
Just 100. All right. 100 again. Category sports terms that aren't. Here's your clue. One of these caused the postponement of ABC's Pushing Daisies and the cancellation of a remake of Bionic Woman.
No idea.
Audience?
Right.
Strike is the sports term that time, the writers' strike. The Daily Doubles are gone, Casey. You still have the lead, and as of right now, will be the only one joining us in Final Jeopardy. But let's see what happens.
Is their ship for 800?
It's their ship, 800. The answer is Jet Black and Spike Spiegel. If you know the anime, you know the ship. It's in the title. The Bebop. Yep. There you are. Casey, where to?
Sports terms that aren't for 1,000.
Finishing that one off. The first one of these for Space Shuttle Columbia occurred on April 14th, 1981. Chris.
What is touchdown?
Chris, you are in the lead now. And this becomes a game. Where to?
DC for 1,000.
Finishing that off with this clue. In Dungeons & Dragons, this is a number associated with an action that represents how hard that action is to do. Again, my cameraman's going crazy. Any other dice chuckers in the audience want to take a shot at this one?
Dexterity check.
Not dexterity. Difficulty check. Or difficulty class. Either of those is correct. 3 clues left. Chris, which one you want?
Potent portables for 1,000.
The answer is, to make a freeze ray, which this evil blogger might enjoy, add vodka, Sprite, and creme de menthe to crushed ice. Stir. Casey.
Who is Dr. Horrible?
That's the one we were after. Yes, well done. Which one you want?
Place in France for 1,000.
All right. The answer is, born in Nantes, he is considered one of the fathers of the science fiction genre. How about it, audience?
Jules Verne.
Jules Verne. Well done. All right. One more clue, and it goes like this. It's their ship for 1,000. Admiral Kendall Ozell, Imperial Colonel Maximilian Veers, and Captain Firmus Piet. Jake?
Execution. What is execution?
I'm gonna, you know what? It doesn't really matter because you're still gonna be in the negative so not being able to play in Final Jeopardy. The Executor is the ship, but I will give it to you. You still, unfortunately, you still wind up in the minus situation, which means you cannot play in Final Jeopardy, but you do finish in 3rd place, which means you will receive a 3-month Crunchyroll subscription for your 45 minutes of embarrassment on Jeopardy. So it's the least we could do. Let's give it up for Jake. Meanwhile, Casey and Chris, now you have a pen and a couple of note cards in front of you. Take one note card and do not look at what the other person is writing. You are now writing down your wagers based on your knowledge of this category. Doctor Who. All right? Write down your wagers and we'll find out how this slightly interesting game ends right after this. Stay tuned. So the first time we used these clues, we wound up with a situation exactly what we have right now. 2 players remain for Final Jeopardy, and it's still either player's game. So here we go. Casey, Chris, category is Doctor Who. Reveal the clue. You have 30 seconds with which to write down your response. Please make sure it is in the form of a question. Final Jeopardy answer for today is this. Of the actors who have played the Doctor on television, he has appeared in the most stories. 30 seconds. Good luck. Had 12 different names to choose from, and I'm expecting that you didn't know all 12, but hopefully you knew the right one. Chris, we start with you. You had 1,000 yen going into Final Jeopardy. Let's see what you wrote down. What is? Philosophical question. Yep, can't call it right, obviously. How much did you risk?
200.
200. All right, so that takes you down to 800. We go to you now, Casey. You had 1,700 going into Final Jeopardy. And let's see your response. Who is David Tennant? Not correct, unfortunately. No. Can the audience tell me?
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker. Well done. Yes, Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor. And now it's all a matter of how much you risked, Casey.
600.
600 yen, which takes you to 1,100 yen, which I can't math. I really can't math. It takes you to 1,100, and Chris, you're down to, there we go, that's right. Regardless, that means Casey is the winner of Jeopardy. Now, ordinarily that means that you get to spend your winnings, but that's like $10. So what you're going to do, I'll give you the same prize that I'm going to give Chris as the second place winner. Chris, you get a 6-month Crunchyroll subscription. Casey, I'll bump your 1,100 up to the value of a 6-month Crunchyroll subscription as well. Plus you have bragging rights for another year, because technically you're the champion, which means you could do this again when next year it'll be Anime Jeopardy. Oh, well, I'll say final score-wise, you guys actually did outscore the people from last week who had these same clues. So, well, we had a good old time, didn't we, audience? I'll see you back here after the next panel. I'll be following that up with a game show called Farkle that I hope that you enjoy. Incidentally, folks, if you are of the more generous sort and you enjoy the game shows that I do at conventions, I have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Greggo's Game Shows. I do get to travel the world, which is cool, but I only make about as much as a part-timer at Walmart does doing this. So donations on the Patreon do help me out a great deal. Thanks for your time. I will see you later for Farkle, for Jeopardy. Bye for now.